So again, I'm going to go over a few things right now, and then we'll continue lecture. As of right now, I basically have 3 assignments for you due on the 31st, and I will be adding more shortly. And if you look at the textbook, and again, you can go under Wiley courses. So under Wiley resources, you will have information that you need. I'm gonna just bring that up. So this is just a table of contents, and right now you're working on 1, 2, and 3 on your own, and we've been working on basically 4, 5, and 6, and especially 5 and 6 right now. As of right now, I'm not sure if I'm gonna cover chapter 7. So once we finish here, then I may or may not cover chapter 7. I'm gonna decide that in a few minutes and I'll give you, but it will not, I'm going to be covering this material, but I'm not going to be covering it necessarily from the book. So, and which is fairly similar to the way I did this. So here, yes, a little bit will be coming from here, but if you see this particular chapter, I'm going to just bring some stuff up from it. It's talking about basically disruptive or emerging technologies. So from here, I am going to focus a little bit on AI applications, but not a lot of the stuff which is in this particular chapter. Again, I feel like these books, when they become obsolete fairly quickly, and while these important, interesting, the AI topics are not really given any coverage in the book. So my aim will be more to focus on AI topics instead of directly the material in chapter 7. So from again, what I'm thinking about right now, I'm not going to go into chapter 7. So you have chapters so far 1 through 6 that you need to worry about. The first 3 homework is going to be due in about 2 weeks or so. And these are not too heavy duty as far as the chapters are concerned. And I've spent a lot of time on these 2 chapters. I'll spend a little bit of time in here and much less time here. Now, this stuff is applied a little bit later on, which means chapters, I believe it's 9 and 10. So 8 is documentation chapter, and we will be doing it. And in particular, I have already posted, I think I lost that screen. Let me see if I can get back in. So under content, I've already posted, and again, hold off questions till I finish, unless it's something where you're not able to hear me or stuff like that. So let me finish what I'm doing, hold off on your questions. So in here, I've already posted this thing about flowcharts on Draw.io. I think I asked you to like create an account on Draw.io, but you really don't need an account. I'm gonna go in here. So this is sort of where I'm going next, and in between I'm gonna be doing AI. So I'm gonna go under Draw.io, and I will let you, and it's also called diagram.net. It's the exact same thing. Okay, Draw.io and diagram.net. It's the exact same thing. So from this one, we will be using symbols like this to create a flowchart. And I will show you how you can integrate creating a flowchart with AI. So we will discuss AI and how you can use artificial intelligence like ChatGPT to create a flowchart. So we will get to that. So ChatGPT or Gemini, Claude, etc. I will cover that as part of chapter 7. I don't think I'm going to cover the rest of chapter 7. So I will be covering AI from those chapters. Then chapter 8 gets into this. So I have to create an account, but it does let you just go in and create a chart. Like again, if I wanted to create an ellipse, okay, I can do so. And then if I wanted to, I can store it locally. So file, save as, and it allows you to save the file as either an XML file, bitmap, SVG, HTML. So it's giving you a couple of options. And when you save it, you can save it on Google Drive, and you should be able to save it on your device as well locally. And so, or you can just download it. So you have a couple of choices in here. We're going to get to this next, but I already have it set up on in your notes as the next item. And it should be here. And let me even put this up there. Okay. So it just gives you an idea. This is where we are heading next. Let me just cancel out of it. And I'm going to just cancel this right now. I don't need to save any changes. My next thing is going to be, again, I'm looking at chapter 7 and I want to get an idea of what you use. And I will be teaching you a bit according to that. So my question is, first, how many of you use some sort of an AI tool regularly? Just raise your hands if you do. All I'm trying to do is get an idea, a survey, because I do not usually teach this topic. So I want to have an idea of how prepared students are or not prepared. Should I start at very beginning, or most of you have some level of experience? So far about half the students, one third, about half the students are telling me they use some sort of AI tool, regularly or reasonably regularly. Okay, lower your hands, please. And again, please make sure hands have been lowered. Now, how many do not use a tool like ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., or don't have a high comfort level with it? Raise your hand. Do not. Then this will be new material for you. All right, you can lower your hands. Now, those of you who do use it, send it to me through the chat text box. What is the primary AI tool you use? So, for example, put down I use ChatGPT, or I use DeepSeek, or Gemini, or Claude, or whatever, just so I have an idea of what you're already using. All right, so virtually everybody's telling me ChatGPT. Not too many people are using anything else. Now, message me, letting me know, do any of you have a paid subscription to ChatGPT or any AI tool? Do you have any paid subscription, or you're all using free so far? So if you have it, say paid, or otherwise say free. Okay, so most of you are using a free version. Only one student indicated paid. All right, so this gives me an idea of how I'm going to be approaching it for the next part of the class. So for your next exam, what I have right now is this exam 2. It's telling you what you would be doing, and this is generic. And look at what it's telling you about submitting the exam. You'll be taking some screenshots, putting it into a Word document, all of that. And I'm also telling you, you will be providing a connection string, and I will provide you additional instructions later on. So it's not something that you need to do right now. I am going to provide additional instructions for this. All you should be doing is be comfortable with all of this stuff, but how you exactly going to be doing things, I'm going to give you some additional instructions beyond what I have given you here. Okay, so this is what you are going to be doing. I've already told you about, taking screenshots, etc. So you can get started, you can work on it, you can get comfortable with it. But how you are going to submit it to me, I will go over it in a little bit more detail later on. And I do it almost right at the end when stuff is going to be due. So do not worry about that portion of it at this stage. You still have about 2 weeks, and I will go over it at that point in time. Okay, so let me now move back. And I'm going to just quickly see if I have anything that I need to cover. I think I have pretty much covered everything that I needed to cover from for the databases. I think from what I remember yesterday, we finished everything. I don't think I left anything out from last class. We went through table joins. Yeah. So we should be good right now as far as all of the material is concerned. I did not go in and type every single, like again, if you're looking at it, I didn't go in and type in all of these different SQL statements, but I did show you how you can enter these SQL statements, and you can do this directly on the Neon site, which we looked at yesterday. So I think it was yesterday we did October 14th. So when you're in this particular project, again, I called it October 14th, then you can go right here, SQL editor, and enter the queries and stuff like that and run it. So, and then once you run it, it's working, you'll have created a table, etc. Then just make sure you give it a name and you save it. So you'll have a bunch of your queries, everything you're doing saved in here. The second thing is make sure that your connection string, you test it in PG admin. So when I go back to the dashboard, connect to your database or connect. So you're going to get your connection string, and I'm going to say show password. This particular connection string, please make sure that you test it in PG admin to make sure it's working. Because I'm taking your connection string, putting it in PG admin, and accessing your account that way. So please make sure it's actually working. You haven't made a mistake in this. But when you're doing your actual work, you can do it, and I'm going to hide it here. You can do it right from let me get out of this. You can do it right from the SQL editor. Okay. So first, any questions about the exam, SQL? what you're going to be doing, and I am going to give you a little bit extra in terms of instructions, but you're 99% there right now. So again, if there are any questions, send it to me now about this exam. I do want you to basically start working on it. And under the quizzes section, just like you had the MongoDB exam, which was exam 1, I'll have something set up for exam 2. You'll go in just like a connection string, just some basic things that you would be putting in there. Including I'll have an option for you to upload your PDF file. So again, by the time you're done, you'll have a PDF file. I'll give you an option to upload it. So, it maybe consist of 2 questions. One is, what is your connection string? Second question will be, upload your a PDF file, something like that. Again, I have not done it, but I will do it, and you'll be able to just go under. Again, anytime I give you an exam, quiz, etc., which is non-widely related, I'm telling you, it's going to be now on Brightspace. You always go under the quizzes section. And I have some students asking questions. I'm going to answer those, then continue. Okay, so I was asked that what I have posted, is this the full exam, or I'm gonna modify it? It's basically the full exam. So what I have in here under content, this is your full exam. What I'm gonna be adding would be just some stuff clarifying things, but what you have to do is all in here. And at this stage, you're really not doing anything new. All you're doing is I'm giving you these statements, and you're basically putting them, typing them in. Look at it, and you're going to be typing those in and saving those queries and looking at the output and saving those. So it does not involve any what I'm calling major complex brain work. You're going to just be following instructions, and this is it. You're going to be going through this stuff and answering. So, like, what are what is the primary key in short, etc. This will be part of when you respond. But I'm looking for just something very basic in terms of answers, nothing deep as far as what they all mean, and it's already in your notes. It tells you exactly what it is. So you'll have this in the quizzes section, and I haven't made that available at this point. I will make it available, but I don't want to make it available too early. Why? Let's say it was available now. Without paying attention to everything, students go in, then they get themselves locked out, or they end up using their attempt. Creates problems. I want you to just do the work. Submitting it is not going to be a problem. You've already done this once with MongoDB, not a problem. Second thing that I want to do, and maybe I'm going to ask everybody to do it now, is just log into your MongoDB account. Actually, let's all do it right now. I want you to log into your MongoDB account. And there's a reason I'm having you do it. So I'm logging in myself, and I want you to do the same thing. And I'm going to have it send me a code and to authenticate. I'm going to stop screen share for a minute. So please, again, make sure at this time you log in to MongoDB, and I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm waiting for it to send me my code. I have not gotten it yet. Okay, so and I'll show you on my screen why I had you log in right now. Okay, so if you can see my screen now, you will see that when I log in, uh, MongoDB has paused my cluster, and 99% it probably has paused your cluster. And this happens because we have the free account. So every few days, couple of days, they will pause it. And they say it will resume when you connect to the cluster. So it's paused it, and I want to make sure it is not paused so that we are me, when I go in, I have not graded yet, but I'm planning now this coming week to be able to grade it. So what I need to do is just make sure on your end that uh, click on something to connect or use your compass. We want to make sure it's no longer paused. So this particular cluster, before they told us it was paused, and I'm gonna refresh my page. Usually once you log into the account, uh, it starts up again. Like right now, it's no longer paused. Before, when we logged in, it was paused. So just make sure that it doesn't say your cluster is paused. And I'm going to look in here also, click on view all clusters. We only have one. And, so when you do view all clusters, and if you just say browse, and I don't have my own data, but I'll just say I have my own data. Again, I had not done any of these things. You guys already should have one in there because you did this as part of your exam. But once you click on browse, you should be able to see your data, and that means now the cluster is running again for the next few days. So just please keep that in mind, that if you don't go in and restart your cluster or resume your cluster, when I try to access it for grading purposes, I will not be able to. So everyone should have gone in right now. And when you go to your home page, right at the home, and I'm going to do it like this. Go just to the top level. Organization for me is Queens College. If I go view all organization, click Queens College, and I look at my cluster, it should not be saying paused. That's basically it. And when I started it, it was paused. Now, any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go on to. So if it's still saying pause, you browse data. And whether you try to browse it using Compass or you try to browse it directly, either or, it will resume it. I will not be able to show how to unpause it because it pauses. Now I cannot do that for maybe another week or so. That it is once it's paused and I unpaused it, it's not. I cannot pause it right now and say, okay, it automatically will pause it for you. But basically, all you have to do is go in here and basically view your cluster, try to connect to it, browse your cluster, and once you browse it, you're connecting to it, and you will be able to see it. Again, I don't have anything set up because it's just a blank one. I didn't do all the work, and that's all you have to do. And then wait a minute or two, and you can always refresh it, and it should be telling you that you're able to retrieve data, etc. It just should not be telling you it's paused. All right. So I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to just bring up my notes. All right. So I'm going to basically go to the next topic. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI. And as I said, we would be using AI for chapter 8 to create flowcharts, etc. So I'm going to go, let me get to I have a lot of stuff here. Let me go, I think. Okay. So I'm going to end up October 15th. So today I'm going to basically go over some basic stuff about artificial intelligence. And I'm going to discuss just some basic tools. So we'll start off, we have Chat GPT. Google has Gemini. There's Claude. And again, I'm not going to be doing anything extremely, what I'm calling comprehensive. Just by show of hands, raising hands, has anyone used Notebook LM? It's not quite the same thing, but is anyone familiar with Notebook LM? Yes or no? Raise your hand if you have ever used Notebook LM. Okay, so I'll briefly discuss Notebook LM as well. And within this concept of artificial intelligence, I'm going to also discuss regression a little bit. Now, if you've taken accounting 306, you should have done regression. Maybe in one of the statistics classes, you would have done regression. If I say regression, and it's a statistical technique, how many people are exposed to this? Have some idea what I'm talking about with regression? Raise your hand if you have a very basic understanding. I'm not advanced, just a very basic understanding. It usually is covered in accounting 306 and probably one of the economic classes like maybe 249 or whatever. How many people remember doing anything with the regression? All right, you can lower your hands. Okay. So probably to get an understanding of what we are doing in here, and I will talk a little bit about regression, and I'm going to talk about LLM, which stands for large language models. Okay. So again, I'm giving you like a brief overview, and with this course, with this class, I don't get too bogged down with rushing through that I need to cover. Whatever I cover, I like to cover in a little bit of detail. And this stuff here is really just the future. Every single thing, it's going to be taken over by this. All the jobs, many of the jobs are going to disappear. So you want to be fairly comfortable with these technologies before you graduate, before you go out there. Give me a minute. I'm going to pause. I'll be right back on my computer and then we'll continue. So just I need to step away for a minute. All right, so let's get back here and I'm going to sort of discuss these things. I'm going to leave ChatGPT alone for a few minutes and I'm going to focus on some of the other ones. And I will talk about regression as well, because that is the basis behind a lot of the stuff that is going on in here. So I'm going to start off with Claude. And Claude is, first, I think it's at the top level. So it is excellent, but expensive. This is the biggest problem. They, even when you pay for it, they have severe usage restrictions. Okay. And this one is, I really like it, but it just becomes very expensive. So I'm going to start off with Claude a little bit and, we will discuss it and see. So I'm going to open up. So I'm going to Claude.ai and I have their free plan. I really only use it when I need something of a higher level. Ordinary stuff, I'll use something like Gemini, very basic stuff. Next level, I'll go to something like ChatGPT. But if I really need a lot of either programming work done or textual content generation, you want to generate some sort of a report, a lot of text, then Claude is quite good. So where would I be using it? You want to use it if you want to generate some sort of a report or text analysis, text generation. This is the one that I would be using. Okay. It's very good for programming. So let's go in and I'm going to do this. So just even about AI and the theories behind LLM and machine learning. So I'm going to just go to Claude and I'm going to generate some content. So, but you need to have some idea of what to ask it, which is basically called the prompt engineering, how you're going to phrase the question. And if you don't know, you ask it to help you phrase the question. So I'll start off with something very basic, and actually I want to do it with Gemini first. And then I go back and forth and I go into cloud. So to learn AI, what are the basic things I should know? So I'll start off with Gemini. Gemini will give you a quick answer. I'm using their free model, which is this one, the Flash, and it starts off going through some of the basic things. And what I wanted to really pick up in here, when you're trying to learn this thing, or if you're trying to learn it in detail, there are two components that you want to focus on. One is this thing called machine learning, and they're telling you it's a subset of AI where machines learn from data. Okay, so one concept that you should be familiar with, just at a very basic level, is what's called machine learning. How do machines learn? Within that, there's a concept of deep learning. So I'm going to add these two items to my notes. And I did not see that in there, but you want to have some idea of neural networks. It's just some very basic terminology that you should be familiar with. So now that I've gotten a basic idea of, let me just close stuff out that I don't need. I've gotten a little bit of an idea of what I should be looking into further. Now I will go in and I will use Claude and have it give me a little bit more information about, well, what is machine learning? So I don't want to ask it what is AI, that's too broad. I want to be a little bit more specific, and I'm going to ask about machine learning. So if we go in here, explain, I'll just machine learning. And I don't want it to go either too deep or not deep enough. So I'll say explain machine learning in 2 paragraphs. So it gives me something, but not too much. Okay. And the basic concept, and most of you have not really been exposed to programming, so you may not appreciate the difference. Machine learning is a branch of AI that enables computers to learn and improve from, they're calling it experience, but from basically data, without being explicitly programmed for every task. So instead of following a rigid pattern, pre-written rules, which is what we did with programming languages like Python or JavaScript, etc. That's the way we've been programming most of the time. So like even this particular website, all of these websites, how are they written? They're written with rigid pre-written rules. That's the way we have it. This is an alternate way of doing things. It's a different way of doing things. Machine learning algorithms analyze data to figure and patterns, and then they figure out, they write their own code basically based on data. That's the main difference. So just in terms of I'm gonna here go in and explain this a little bit. Machine learning versus computer programming. So I'll give you an example. If I want my computer to recognize a stop sign, how can I teach it? So okay, so this is what I'm talking about. That and this is something that for auto driving, stuff like that, automated driving, the computer would need to be able to recognize the stop sign. So if I said to you, how can we teach the computer about a stop sign, have it recognize it? There are really two ways of approaching it. One is I will tell my computer that look for a sign that has how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I'm programming it, I would tell the computer to analyze the sites, and you would be looking for an 8-sided sign, right? What else would you be telling it in terms of programming it? You would also be telling it uh, that it should recognize or should be looking at the color red. Everybody with me? And possibly next thing would be if it's able to somehow do character recognition, I would tell it to read the words STOP. So in my instructions, I would be saying, okay, when you pull it and you're gonna convert it into uh, the red as a hexadecimal number, let's say. I'm gonna go in here. So this red, stop sign red, hexadecimal value. Okay. So it's basically saying it's not a single value. It's made up of a couple of different colors like red and white. Okay. So I would be programming the computer that, okay, whatever image it's getting, convert it and see if it has a red and white element to it. So this is one way of teaching, and this is the programming approach. So I can program this in a programming language like Python or JavaScript. We have hundreds of languages. Any common popular language, I can tell it. The other approach is that I'm not going to sit and explicitly tell the computer these things. Instead, what I will do is, so the machine learning approach, you will feed data to computer. Lots of data. And I'm going to give you an example. So we can common traffic signs. Okay. So what I can do possibly, and this would be a good example, I'll just bring this up. All the different common traffic signs, because I'm probably not going to want to just teach it stop. I may want to teach it a bunch of this. So I can feed information such as color, and other factors into the computer in the form of like an Excel spreadsheet. So I will have some examples of signs, lots of them. And then I would tell it that this is a stop sign, this is a yield sign, this is another stop sign, this is a merge sign. So another way of doing it is, instead of explicitly telling the computer, look for color red, look for white, I will give it samples of data, basically in the form of what you're looking at, like a spreadsheet. So this would be some sort of a, I'll call it data, and then we as a human will be classifying the data. So here would be what I'm calling classification. I would be classifying it. So, and we'll tell the computer, you figure it out on your own based on the data. So I'm going to give you a completely different example right now. I have to decide whether or not to give you credit card. So as a bank, I have to decide whether or not I'm going to issue a credit card for you. So the decision basically comes out to, so decision would be either yes or no. That's basically what I have to decide, yes or no, which is another way of saying 0 or 1. So 0 may be yes or 0 may be no, and 1 would be yes or no. And then I can look at historical data about individuals. So I might be looking at, I'm again making things up, their age. I may be looking at their income. I may be looking at their level of education. Their assets, marital status, gender. And I look at hundreds of thousands, if not millions of records. And then in here, I will, by looking at historical data, I will say this person made good use of credit. So me, I'm going to say it was like a good credit risk, or this one was a bad credit risk. Good credit risk, good, bad. So we can look at historical data and we can say this person paid us in the past. This person did not pay us in the past. and we will let the computer figure out whether or not they are going to be. So, looking at historical data, you come up with a model to predict the future credit worthiness of an individual. So, one of the reasons, whatever we are dealing with in terms of the AI models like Chat GPT and stuff like that, I learned all this stuff in 1980s when I was doing my PhD. It hasn't changed much, but in 1980s, even the internet was not what it is now. Yeah, we had some level of internet, but not really internet. And the large volumes of data sets that are now available. So it isn't really that there has been a major advance theoretically now that we got these AI models out there. That hasn't been there. Obviously, research is always going on, and over a 35 year period, yes, you do end up developing new techniques. But whatever is AI, I learned this myself in the 1980s when I was doing my PhD. So, when these things now became popular, I knew exactly what was going on. I had studied it a long time ago. But the thing that has made it much more useful is a lot of this data is available. So the way these models are trained, they have access basically right now to everything on internet, and they're able to use that basically to train. So a predictive model, and again, this is based on regression, and I'll go into it a little bit more, but I don't want to go too deep into it because it's not a class on AI. I just want you to have a basic idea, a feel for what's going on without going too far into it. And any questions so far, let me know, and I'm not just gonna check the chat. Somebody has a question. Okay, so any question? Okay. So one student's telling me you're using ChatGPT to build your portfolio. And what I mean, assuming what you mean by portfolio is your stock portfolio. Is that correct? What stocks to buy? Okay. So yes, and you can do that. You can do virtually anything with it right now because it can go out and it can do research for you. And while one of the ways you can access these is through prompts like this, it is also fairly easy to access all of this stuff programmatically. I don't think I'm going to have time to cover that in this class. I may end up covering it in my 343 class. I don't think I'm going to have time in this particular class. But again, I have some options. I'll see, starting with next week, what we're able to do. So right now, things that I would tell you to look at. I mean, we have about 15 minutes or so. Things that I'm going to tell you to look at. If you're building, for example, a website, I know some of my students are taking the 343 course with me. I would go in and ask it to tell me. I'll just do another one. And again, if you're taking 343, you saw me do this yesterday. That again, I want to help me build a CPA firm website. Guide me in English only. What should be on my website? So something along these lines. have it not generate the code for you, but guide you. So once you do something like that, again, I'm using the free Gemini because uh, something like this, I don't need a very complex or advanced model. So it will give you some guidelines. It will give you some, again, I told it, do it in English only. So it's now giving me some of the things that should be on your page. So whether you're doing a report or anything, you first ask it to tell you what it should be done. Now, once we have all of this, then I will tell it, okay, convert this into an AI prompt for code generation. Again, so I would then go in and fix this up. Once I have fixed it up, then I would issue a command like this. So now convert this into an AI prompt. So what you should even be asking, you can have the AI help you generate a prompt. So this is the next side. So this would be a prompt. Once you have this prompt, it's a long prompt, you can copy and paste it into something else. So I'm gonna just copy it, and maybe I'll go into another AI like DeepSeek. And I will paste that prompt in there. And now it's actually generating the code that I need in here. I'm gonna stop it because I don't need it. I'm really just want it. So actual code can be generated, but if you went in on your own and tried to give it a prompt, you probably are not going to do a very good job. So when you're using the AI tools, even the prompt that you need to generate to get your answers, you want the AI to help you create the prompt. So that's one of the very, very basic things that you want to be able to do. And again, I will give you an assignment or something later on where you'll go through some sort of process and we will utilize AI. So let me just see. Okay. So a question that I'm asked, and which is a good one, is like, which one is the best at this particular point in time? And Chat GPT is the best, in my opinion, best overall. Why? Because especially if you pay for it, okay? Especially if you pay $20 a month, you get a lot of value for the money. This is what I will call ChatGPT is really general purpose. It's not especially specialized, okay? Not a good term, way to describe it, but that's what it is. If you're going for something very specific, this may not be the best model for you to use. But as a starting point, the first model that you probably want to go to, ChatGPT is the best overall. So if you are a professional programmer, you probably want to have Claude. It's, I think, the best. ChatGPT, so between these two, ChatGPT and Gemini, again, this is free. Here you can use free or pay $20 a month. You will get a lot of value for your money. They don't really have usage restrictions. I have not run into a problem. Usage restrictions. And this is much better in engaging with you in refining your idea or topic. So much better with you, asks you questions and questions and questions. So again, one of the things we have to do in this class, we're going to be talking about software. Chapter 4 is, I'm going to just go in chapter 4 if I can find it. So, software and systems, how you develop software. So imagine I'm trying to develop software and I'll go to ChatGPT. And when I'm using ChatGPT and, this is model 5, I will give it a prompt. I'll add this stuff in there that give me step by step guidance. Ask only one question at a time to help me refine my topic. So I don't know what the topic is or whatever, but this is sort of a generic instruction that I give it. So this will become now an iterative process. It will be asking me questions, I'll respond. It will ask me questions, I will respond. So, and I'll just give it. So this is like chapter 4 material. I need to design a payroll system as part of an accounting software. Help me define user requirements for such a system. So if we have to create a payroll system, I don't know what I want to have in there. So I will ask it to guide me step by step, ask only one question at a time, not throw too many things at me, and help me design it. And sometimes these systems, especially when I'm dealing with programming related stuff, they have a tendency to start throwing code at me. So I typically will tell it no code, use English only. Basically, I don't want it to start generating code for me. So if I do this, and we'll do this as part of chapter 4, that like I'll give you some assignment to design something like this, user requirements, and you're not really doing it yourself, you're going to go through this. Okay, so let's define this step by step. We'll build clear requirements. So across areas like, well, what do I need to keep track of if I'm developing a payroll system? So of course, with a payroll system, you want to keep track of employee data. Well, what is part of employee data? And it's telling me these are the things. So first thing, which jurisdiction, countries, states should this be for? So I'm going to say now, New York City. So now, this versus if it's New Jersey or if it's California, that's going to affect us. So New York City, and I'll just say only. So you'll have to worry about state and city taxes, wage rules, blah, blah, blah. Next question. What type of an organization or workers will the system handle? So if it's a small business or a large business, etc. So I'll just say small business with 80 employees. And it's telling me if you have employees, what is the mix? Salaries, uh, commissions, contractor, etc. So just to keep things simple, all are uh, paid hourly. And now I'll also tell it I need to track their clock in and out time as well. But my point here is when you're using these, do not give it too much information at the beginning. Give it enough information and tell it to ask you questions and clarify your thinking. That's the way you want to use this. And once you're all done, then you will tell it summarize or this or that, and you're done. So I'm going to just send this, and then that would be, sort of it for right now. So it will give me something. Then it's going to give me next question because I told you about 80 employees hourly. So, and we need to track clock in, clock out. Now, how are they going to clock in and clock out? A physical terminal, clock, whatever. And now I'll tell it, well, I want them to use a web portal. So it's like, how do you want them to clock in and out? So I'll just say, I want it to be a web portal. No remote clock in and out. In other words, I don't want employees to be able to clock in and out from their home. And one of the ways you can do that is restrict by my IP address. So you need to have some idea of what you're telling it, but it will give you guidance more and more and more. So ChatGPT, in my opinion, is really good if you have to do something iterative. So this one for refining your idea. This is excellent step by step. Okay. Now, part of the problem and is, we got dozens of models. I have not even brought in, the Elon Musk model. I think Grok. I've not used it. There is IBM has its own. There are many, many, many models out there, but we are not going to be able to go through everything. And for the common ones, these are the major common ones. And I would ask you, and this will be the very last thing, take a look at Notebook LM. This is not really critical for this particular course, but actually I'll ask, let me ask ChatGPT. So I'm going to just ask it about what is Notebook LM by Google. And hopefully I didn't make a spelling mistake. Okay. So it is not a typical AI model. What it does is it will help you summarize things. So as a student, when you are learning things, it is an AI powered research and note taking assistant developed by Google Labs. So you can upload or link things, PDF documents, Google Docs, web links, YouTube videos, etc. And tell Notebook LM to generate a summary for you. So it will go in looking at only your material, what you have given it, some your PDF documents, your own YouTube links. and it will go through all of that and summarize it into a report. So just like in a history class or an English class, your professors may assign you, go write a term paper, okay? And you go and you look up many different sources. You will maybe read a novel, then you will see who the author was, the time period it was in. Here you can just provide it with links, and it will generate a report for you. And this type of stuff, me personally, I do not consider this stuff quote unquote cheating. This is part of life. You better know how to use it. Your competition is going to be using this. So let me end the class now, and maybe in the next class, I will approach this and show you how we can use this. You can extract things from YouTube, especially. It's very good, and PDFs. So Notebook LM, maybe we'll talk about that, I think, in the next class. So we do not have a class now on Monday. Just be aware of that. So next class is on Wednesday, and then we have a class Friday next week. So no Monday, we have Wednesday and then Friday. All right. Any questions? Ask. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.